few months ago we fitted 3 windows, and here are the steps that we followed.
Before fitting your windows, you need to decide what type of window you actually want. There's 2 options. You can have glass windows like ours, or you can go for the kind of more traditional campervan style like PVC windows. Both have their pros and cons. We went for the glass windows mainly for the aesthetics, and we think they look much nicer than the other ones, but in terms of security and insulation, they have their downsides, but we're pleased with how they look.
Today's window day. We're putting 3 windows in total. Let me show you. We're going to put 1 window in here, in the side door, and then we're going to put 1 in each of the back doors. We've had to get slightly different windows to the usual ones for this particular door because of this lock here. So we've had to get the windows that I think, from what I've seen anyway, come down like that, as opposed to wrapping around like some of them do. Because we didn't really want to get rid of that lock, but also didn't think that we could actually fit a window in between where the lock was and this thingy, the badge, whatever it's called.
Fiona's unboxing the window.
Which we got from Van Pimps.
Thank you, Van Pimps.
What's going on in here?
Taping up the line with Dad's going to cut with the angle grinder. So we're going to cut these. We're going to cut a little chunk out of these support struts, just so we can get a smooth line with the jigsaw. That's it. So just to make it easier, it'll go through there like that, according to the videos.
We've decided not to put a window in this panel because we don't know yet where we want the kitchen, but we think we would want to put some overhead storage there, and we're just not really sure how that would work. This panel and the one on the other side, so the 2 back panels we're going to put flares in, which haven't arrived yet, but that's why we're not putting a window in those ones. And we've decided to get flares without windows.
Yep.
Just because the windows are quite small really for the price. Here goes.
There's nothing.
Step 1 is obviously creating the template to be able to cut the hole for the window. So we started off on the inside, and you can use the natural shape of the panel to mark the template basically. First time we did it, we drilled holes around the whole of the panel. And then cut the window, but we realised that was a really messy way of doing it at the end when we came to tidy it up. So for the back 2 windows, we used the centre punch, went around the inside of the inside of the panel, and it just creates little, almost like pinpoint kind of lumps on the outside that we could then really clearly tape around, which provided a really easy template to follow for the jigsaw.
After you've marked out all of your dents, you then start cutting the hole essentially. There's a few different tools out there. We used the jigsaw because that was all we had available to us. And after Dad used the angle grinder just to cut out the struts for the base, we went round and cut from the outside with the jigsaw, going slowly, taking our time and just making sure to get the smoothest cut possible.
Next up is the filing. Once you've cut the hole, you'll probably end up with quite a rough edge to it. So we used a sanding drill bit to just smooth the edges really, but you can obviously use a metal file. We just didn't have one available to us. And that then makes it much smoother to then fit the next stage, which is the rubber bonding.
This is our hole.
We think it might be too big,
Lights are all ready.
but we're ignoring that for now.
Glad we put the windows in before anything else because we made a right mess. You need to prime the outside of the window with this, which you can buy with most windows. They'll come with a bonding kit, and it's generally a case of cleaning the outside surface with either the alcohol wipe that comes in it or a spirit-based cleaner, and then just painting it on with the little bubbles that you get, and to give a nice surface for the bonding and the window to stick to. What's going on here?
We've primed the outside, as you can see.
Sort of.
Now,
The camera doesn't pick up that well.
Now we're putting the, I don't know what it's called, but I'm going to say rubber tubing
That'll do.
on the inside
Panel.
panel, and that's just to give it a nicer look from the inside. So this just slots over. After priming the van, it's then time for bonding. So that comes in a tube. What we did find was that it was quite hard to actually squeeze it out of the tube onto the van, and we found the second time we did it, we put it in some kind of warm water just to loosen it slightly, I guess, and that made it much easier to apply. But you just go around the shape of the window, ideally doing it in one really thick tube, making sure that you don't have any breaks, because obviously you then risk the water coming in. We put it on the van, but then if we were to do it again, we'd also put some on the window just to be extra safe. Then once we put the bonding on it, we used some window kind of suction pads, I guess, to lift the window onto the van, and that made life so much easier when we actually came to install it. The other tip as well that we picked up was just to put some duct tape on the top, just above the window, so once you've installed the window you can then pull the duct tape down and it just holds the window in place overnight. And then we also cut some cardboard off just to place it under the window, and that obviously keeps it propped up and just stops the windows from sinking. And then we left it overnight, just so there was absolutely no risk of it slipping at all. And yeah, that's how to install windows.
How we did it.